Learning licks is the easiest way to go from sounding terrible to sounding like you know what you're doing. I want you guys to stop learning licks. Now there is this age-old debate in the jazz world, and I guess in any world that has to do with improvisation, if you should play other people's licks or not. And we all know the arguments. Some people say it's like a language, and then the other people say that, well, it's like a language, but you don't learn somebody's speech or parts from a book. But then some people say, yes, you do, because if you want to be a good writer, you memorize a lot of poems or whatever you want to write. So there is this argument, and I'm gonna finish this argument for once and for all using facts and logic. And it's actually gonna be so good that I expect no arguments in the comment section. To me, there are really two mindsets when you come to play in a solo when you're performing. One mindset or recording. One mindset is being focused on execution, and the other mindset is being focused on creating ideas. What do I mean? I mean that if you have licks, the way you decide if you succeeded or not in playing your solo is if you executed the licks properly. What do I mean? I mean if the licks were in time, if the sound was good, if it fell nicely with the rhythm section, with the drums, whatever, and if it went through. And the other thing is you give yourself a little bit more leeway with execution, not that much. Again, if you hear me, you know that I try to be accurate, but you focus more of the quality of the idea. So especially in jazz, and especially when playing shows, right? Recordings are a little bit different, but especially when playing shows, I try to forgive myself if I mess up a little bit, and you can see it in our live videos. If I mess up a little bit and focus more on if I had good ideas and if I discover new things during the solo. Like if I look at the song that I looked at a million times and I was able to do something a little bit new for me, right? So that's one of the issues. The problem is that the people in the audience, they don't know what's new. So if you come and you play your lick to the people in the audience, and for them it's new, and it can be even exciting, right? But it won't be new for you because you practiced it. I think it can work for people that don't play a lot of shows. But if you play a lot of shows, and the people here that listen to me and they do, they watch the video and they do, you know that you play a lick the first time, like the first show, and then on tour, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and by the 40th night, you're sick of this lick. Like you might have been excited about it the first night, or the second night, or the seventh night you played it, and you were happy that you nailed it, and you're like, dude, this is killer. But on the 40th night, you don't care anymore. And I suspect that when you don't care, the audience doesn't care either. The other thing that's really problematic to me with playing licks, and that's something that I always emphasize to people in my band, and it's very easy to fall into, and it's not necessarily have to be with other people's lick. Like let's say you play a song, and then you find something really cool on a specific progression or a specific point in the solo, and you play it one night, the first night, and you're like, oh, that's killer. And then the second night, and the third night, and when the drummer notices it, like Adam Everett, and then he catches it, and it's like, it's even more powerful. And when you play the song 50 times, and you keep doing the same thing in the same spot, and you feel like it's working, and you can even feel like, oh, it's not a lick, it's not anybody's else, it's mine. I fell into it in the past, and I really try not to let it happen in the last few years, but it is possible for it to happen, so I always thank God. But why? Why am I saying what's wrong with it? The thing that's wrong with it is that it doesn't let you get better. You only get better in executing and performing that specific thing, that specific line. But there is something that happens on tour that if you let yourself improvise, you find out that, okay, the first night you got some stuff okay on a new song, right? Sometimes okay, sometimes not as okay, and you think about it for the next night, and the next night. And then after a long period of time, you're in a completely different place from throwing all those things around and looking at the same material in different ways every night. You're in a completely different place when you started the tour. But again, if you just play the licks, you're in the exact same spot. And you see it with people that play, let's say, I don't really know anything about classical music, even though classical music probably applies, but you see it with people that play shreddy like prog music, right? They play all these complex solos with tapping, it's guitars, right? Saxophonists don't play that, but tapping, but they always sound the same. And it's really, every song that they start, they have to start constructing their solo from zero, because because it doesn't translate. It's not like they figure out things that apply to across the board. Right? And again, like with everything that I'm telling you, obviously there are trade-offs. Learning licks is the easiest way to go from sounding terrible to sounding like you know what you're doing. Right? But long term, I think it's a terrible strategy. And since you don't have all the time in the world and you don't play 10 hours a day and you don't perform every night, you don't want to waste your time playing preconceived licks. If you go and write, I'll give you a blues, just one chorus of blues, and you write the best solo. You're not going to be able to write the best solo on blues ever been written or ever been played, right? It's because your imagination is at a specific point, and you want to develop your imagination. And the way you develop your imagination is by approaching the same material from different ways, like playing blues like night in, night out. Not by playing the same chorus of blues or trying to find the perfect quote-unquote blues chorus. Right? Because there is no such thing as a perfect blues chorus. That's another thing that has to do with finding your own style. Because the way you find your own style is every night and every day and every moment that you think about music, which hopefully is a lot if you're a musician, you ask yourself, what is good? It's like you go to a psychologist. You keep asking yourself, what is good? What's good about music? What do I like about music? And it changes, and you craft it, and you understand more about it. And that's your personal style at the end. Right? And everybody has their own definition because we're all different as human beings. Right? There are some people that are very similar to each other, but even they're not the exact same person that you can just switch in and out. I just think it's not a good strategy for you guys to play licks, and it's okay to bomb for a while, and it's okay to not be as fast as maybe some other musicians are. Because they're taking like a shortcut, quote unquote. I think it will do you good in the long run. So stop learning licks. What you should do is like and subscribe to this channel for more great advice and insights about music that will for sure make your playing better, 100%, guaranteed scientifically.